guys, so my name's Akene and welcome to another video. So in this video, I want to talk to you guys about my overall post-bac experience and just what it was like compared to my undergrad experience. So basically after I graduated, I moved back home with my parents, and the school that I was doing my post-bac program at was actually closer to my house than it was to my college town where I was living. And so I decided to move back home and just commute to school every day. And so that in itself was an adjustment, because in my undergrad, classes were maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk away from my apartment, whereas moving back home, it was maybe a 20 minute drive down to the light rail station, and on top of that, maybe a 30-minute light rail commute as well. So that was different, just having to budget more time for commuting to and from school. But aside from that, I think the feel of the campus overall was also different. Just because where I had done my undergrad, it was more of a college town, so everyone was pretty much in school or just super young, and so the overall feel of the two campuses were very different. And as far as the academics were concerned, basically each semester we were taking about 13 credit hours worth of classes, but they were all science classes. So we were taking like biochem, physiology, and anatomy, and just different classes like that. And the classes themselves were good. Fortunately, because of the fact that I was an integrated physiology major when I was at CU, a lot of the classes I had already taken. So it served as a really good refresher. But at the same time, I feel like that also aided in me becoming complacent to how difficult the classes would be. I feel like I kind of came into the classes knowing that I had already taken them and just feeling that the classes, weren't going to be as bad, or, because I had taken it, I obviously had a leg up on everyone else who was taking it for the first time. And basically the way that my post-bac program worked was there was a GPA requirement. So as long as you got a certain GPA, you were basically guaranteed an interview for the next year's class. And one of the things I also learned from my post-bac program was just to not let my feelings towards professors or anything like that get in the way of me doing what I need to do. So I had this biochem professor, and I just felt like he was really condescending towards me. And for whatever reason, I just felt like he just didn't like me. And that was the first time I had ever experienced anything like that. So because of it, I feel like I just became extremely withdrawn in his class. And I, tying back to the complacency, I just figured if I do well in all of my other classes, I'll still meet the GPA requirement to get into dental school. So it won't matter necessarily that he didn't like me or how things went in his class. And what actually ended up happening was I actually fell short of the requirement. And a lot of it was because of my performance in his class. And so, what that taught me was, once dental school starts, I can't allow my feelings towards a professor or my feelings towards a class to get in the way of my overall performance in that class. And I definitely remember, finding out that I had fallen short of the requirement, and it was definitely one of the hardest days of my life. I remember, just crying and being so heartbroken because I had felt like I had all of the tools and all of the resources to be starting dental school, and I felt like all of a sudden it was just taken away from me. I felt like, someone had thrown me an alley-oop, for example, to win the game, and I had just dropped it. Or, I was running and I was about to get in the end zone and I just dropped the ball on the 1 yard line before I'd crossed the line. So it was really hard on me, mentally and emotionally. And I feel like I was just so embarrassed because I had been telling my friends I was going to be in dental school that next year. My parents had been telling their friends I was going to be in dental school the next year. And it was just hard knowing that along with my classmates that I had done the program with, I was going to have to tell everyone, my classmates that I did the program with, I was going to have to tell everyone that I, had fallen short of the requirement. And that's when I came across this guy, his name's Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk, a while back, and I started listening to his podcast. And I feel like he helped me out a lot in terms of getting out of that spot, that dark place that I was in. Really just by talking about how we're all so young and we still have time. Like, things might not have worked out for you up until this point, but whether you're 20 or 30 or 40, you still have so much more life to live, that you don't have to have everything figured out by the time you're 18 or by the time you're 25, because the average person lives until they're, let's say, 90 or 95. So just knowing that, by the time we're 25, we're still in the beginning stages of life, to not be so hard on yourself if you're not where you thought you would be at this point. And going back to my parents, I think a big reason why I had always wanted to do so well in school is I had always wanted to make them proud. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, having parents that you feel like have worked so hard to get to where they're at. You just feel like you owe it to them to do the best that you can in school, and you just feel like you want to work as hard as you can to make them happy. But what I didn't realize at the time was I wasn't really going to school for me. I kept looking at it as though I want to make my parents proud and I want to be a good example. And Gary Vee just talked about how you can't go to school with the mindset of, I want to make my parents proud or I want to do this for so-and-so, because then once things start going badly, you start to get more down on yourself. And so you have to want to do well in school for you, and not necessarily just for your parents or just so people can be proud of you. You have to want it for yourself. And looking back on things, it was actually a blessing, because I just feel like had I gone to dental school right after my undergrad or even right after my post-bac program, I just wouldn't have been mentally ready to handle everything that comes along with dental school, whether it's the rigorous coursework and just the constant, exams that are always going on. And so I definitely feel like it was a blessing in disguise, even though it hurt so bad when it first happened. And another thing I want to say that I learned from my undergrad experience was not to use your grades as validation. So what I mean by that is not allowing yourself to think too highly of yourself if you do well in a class or an exam, but also not allowing yourself to get too down on yourself if you do poorly on an exam. Because one thing with me that I would do, and this started in high school, whenever I had an exam or a paper that I felt I should have done better on, if I didn't get that grade that I thought I deserved, I'd get really down on myself. So I spend a lot of time just kind of beating myself up, thinking about all the things that I messed up and all the things I did wrong, where, in dental school, from talking to a lot of my friends that are in it right now, they've just told me that you can't afford to do that. Just because dental school is so fast paced and you're having exams all the time, you don't have time to beat yourself up after a bad exam. And so I feel like now I've gotten to that point where I've gotten enough confidence, as far as school and just overall in life, to the point where I'm mentally and emotionally ready for dental school. And even though it may have taken me longer than I thought, I just think it was all for the best. I think my post-bac program taught me a lot about myself and things that I definitely don't want to do once I get into dental school. So, thanks you guys for watching another video. I just wanted to make a video real quick and, tell you guys about my post-bac program experience for any of you guys that are thinking about doing a program, or any of you guys that have done a program in the past. I just want to make this video for you guys and show you guys that, even though things may not work out at the time that you think they will, at the end of the day, things are going to work out in the end. So yeah. All right, you guys, I'll wrap that video up with this, and also leave any comments down in the description if you guys are going through a program right now, or if you guys have done one in the past. And if you have any questions as well for me, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer those for you guys. Sorry guys, I'll talk to you in the next one, and take care.